I remember when I came here, somebody once told me that, listen, if you are reasonably talented, give yourself at least 7 years in Bombay.
Vision was always the writer's.
Okay.
Even the other director was following the writer's vision, and the writer was also following his vision, and we were all following his.
There's a lot of drama, there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of politics, there's everything that good Hindi cinema is made of. And here we are.
Hi, this is Ana Farzeen and I welcome you to IndianExpress.com, and I have with me the cast of Jehanabad. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
so,
you.
Excited, nervous, what's the emotion right now?
Everything.
Both, I think, yeah, all of
Just
it.
waiting to watch it actually.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So before we watch it, I just want you to tell us a little more about the show.
Sure. Jehanabad जो है ये एक it's a story that's placed in the city of Jehanabad, of course, and it's a story, as the title suggests, of love and war. All the characters in the show go through their own share of love and war, and this city is torn apart by love and war, and what happens there with these characters intact, and where does the story go ahead, you'll have to watch when the show is out on the 3rd of Feb. But as the trailer suggests, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of politics, there's everything that good Hindi cinema is made of. And here we are, ready with the audience to watch the show on 3rd of Feb.
You guys want to tell us more about the characters?
I play the character of Durgesh Pratap Singh. He's the superintendent of police in Jehanabad. When whatever goes down, goes down. And it's like, he finds himself in the middle of this sort of ideological war, obviously, between him and Deepak, character played by Param. As a segue, I'd like to say that one of the reasons why this script was so interesting when we watched it first was that because it really, like Ritwik just said, it had everything, So it's got this love story which is surrounded by a very sort of obviously political narrative, and they kind of like a Venn diagram, they kind of crisscross every once in a while. Yeah, I'm really dying to watch it.
I play the character of Misra. I think she's a very free-spirited girl who takes a lot of energy from the world she lives in, which is movies and books. And although, she's very stubborn. Her emotions are very extreme. She's transparent, and and to know her more, please watch Jehanabad on 3rd of Feb.
Yes, Professor.
हाँ जी, मेरे किरदार का नाम अभिमन्यु सिंह है. I play this professor called Abhimanyu Singh who teaches English literature, and he just about lands up in Jehanabad where the story starts off from. That's probably his first day at work at that university, and what happens to him once he gets there, his ideologies, his understanding of the society, how he brings that knowledge to his pupils, and how he gets affected by the atmosphere there is the journey of Abhimanyu Singh in the show.
Yeah. Also very interestingly, the show has 2 directors. Tell me, as actors, does it get a little difficult because you have 2 visions guiding you, or were they very seamless together?
I think it was very clear the vision was always the writer's.
Okay.
Even the other director was following the writer's vision, and the writer was also following his vision, and we were all following his vision. So I don't think there was that confusion, according to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as though they were both sitting on the monitor at the same time. They divided the story between them. And as an actor, you always, when you're getting, sort of after a take, you're getting some input from your director, you get a sense ki, like, I know that Rajiv sir, focused on certain sort of, maybe more the sort of emotional sort of graph of a character, and Satyanshu focused on something a bit more technical. But yeah, you could tell that they were on the same page, their vision was the same, but I think just
the way they direct,
the way they direct and the things that they focus on is different. But we were all directed by both of them. It was quite seamless.
Amazing. Harshita, you tell me, these north side good girls, like those characters come naturally to you, like make us want to cast
I'm
you.
a very good north girl.
I'm a very good north girl.
So I think those characters come to me with different streaks.
Yeah. But how do you react to it? No, how do you react to it? How do you take this? Like, is it a compliment that?
Well, if I can become a go-to for that, then why not?
Yeah.
Milk it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think every time a person should think about that role, and if I'm the first name they think about, great for me.
Correct.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Ritwik, you tell me, like, every project has been a different character for you. Was
Right.
that a conscious thought when you were taking up acting that you will portray all your sides, like in just 2-3 years that you get sab kar lunga?
I really want to show off and say yes, but no, I've just been very, very lucky. Honestly, the makers who've been making these things
Yeah.
have in their imaginations or in actuality have placed me in these parts in their world of cinema, right?
Right.
So for me, I think I'm just lucky that people can imagine me in different roles, and I do not know how, because I'm not consciously trying to look for scripts like that, but I'm just very lucky and very happy that my team and I are getting to read such scripts, and we are being a part of a show like Jehanabad and sitting with the likes of them. So it's brilliant.
Right. So this is because you rightly mentioned you were a lawyer, you had your experience of law. What is it about law, crime that audiences are so hooked to these dramas?
That's a good question.
But I mean, I'll sort of, the obvious question for me is that I get offered, out of every 4 projects I do, 3 are cops. And out of them, 2 of them I get killed. But that's the thing, I was just talking to my manager one day, said, why do I get so many cop roles? And I think it's just that it's a sort of comment on where society is at the moment, because you just, I know he will disagree, but there is, and I'm not a huge sort of romantic in that sense of like that sort of a film, but everyone wants to see that because it's just topical, and you do need that what do I call it, like the public's sort of perspective on how a situation needs to be resolved, and they need lawmakers for that, and they need the cops to come in. But yeah, that's true. It's everyone wants that, and also I think that we've sort of done the love stories to death.
Okay.
And I think people are a bit bored with that. So the ones that do well now there's something different. They're not just a guy meeting a girl. There has to be something else about it, and I think this is just an added level of flavor that comes into, I mean, this is a love story, clearly, Jehanabad, but there's also a lot more that happens in it. So I think people have just realized that they need to sort of just explore more, add different layers to any story, and just make it more wholesome, more rounded.
Also, there's a criticism that always comes around is that how violence is glorified in these shows. Whenever there's a crime-based show, be it Mirzapur, of course, as actors, how do you look at it when you have to do certain parts where there's a lot of violence and it's been glorified in a way, it's been portrayed in a major way? How do you deal with that?
I think that's also the perception, because if you actually see those shows, people who are doing wrong or whatever, they are not ending up in a good space. So how is it glorified? Of course, it's made in a way which attracts audience, but it's your perception. If you want to see it through that perspective, then it's not the maker's fault. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, that particular character is not going a good path. Nothing good is happening to that.
Right.
So then, then you're showing what's happening. So
also, Satyadeep, rightly you mentioned how OTT has kind of taken over. I think maybe the past few months we have been speaking about how OTT is taking over Bollywood, but just one film, Pathaan, comes and the box office has been ringing. Do you think even when OTT is there, it's the star that still rules the industry?
I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. I mean, who rules in any industry in the world? The top 0.0001% rules 80% of the industry, right? Now, whether the remaining 20% is it worthwhile to be an actor today because you only get to that piece of the pie? Sure, it is. And there's work for actors, there's work for technicians. Everyone's got work, and it's great to be to be able to sort of say, okay, I want to do this and have an opportunity to actually do it. And your sort of the quality of work and the quantity of the work and what you get paid, that's a process that just keeps changing. But there will always be superstars. There will always be people who are who do work which looks a lot more sort of real, and which is more about substance than spectacle. There'll always be space for everyone, and the happy thing is that there is space for anybody. I remember when I came here, somebody once told me that, listen, if you are reasonably talented, give yourself at least 7 years in Bombay.
Okay.
And he told me this before I'd never even seen myself on screen to see whether I like myself on screen or not. But he said 7 saal though. I think that figure now is 2 years. Give yourself 2 years here. There's so much work happening that if you give yourself those 2 years and just do what's expected of you, you'll know whether it makes sense for you to stay here or to get your ticket and head back.
Absolutely. But that makes sense. It's true.
That time that you had, that gestation period has really reduced because there's just so much more opportunity. So it's a great thing. All the best to the huge stars and their big Bollywood films. But this is great, man. This is running thousands and thousands and thousands of homes. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, more power to OTT.